Okay, well, welcome everybody. I'm Mary Lassity, the director of the Blockchain Center of Excellence here at the University of Arkansas. And one of the things that we do is really focus on women leaders in blockchains. And part of our mission is enabled by this video series where we bring world-renowned global blockchain leaders to talk to us. And I'm thrilled today to have my colleague and my friend, Professor Carol Goforth. She's a university professor from the School of Law, and she is a world expert in crypto transactions. In fact, Carol, I'm going to share your book. Carol wrote this fantastic book, Regulation of Crypto Transactions. I recommend it to so many people, Carol, that they keep running out on Amazon. So, so congratulations on your books. She's also a public, really renowned publicly. I love the work that you do in Cointelegraph, Carol, because it's so timely. And you get 80 or 90,000 views when you're doing commentaries on laws that are either upcoming or lawsuits that are in progress. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be a part of this.
So why don't you first tell our audience a little bit how you got into this space as a law professor?
Yeah, I have been a law professor for 30 years. So obviously that predates anything relating to crypto assets or crypto transactions. And I started both my practice career and then my teaching career in business, commercial, and securities regulation. And just a few years ago, I got a call saying, hey, the Walton College likes to encourage entrepreneurship. We know you do too. How'd you like to come and speak to a bunch of entrepreneurs that are interested in doing a blockchain and cryptocurrency business? And I went, is that Bitcoin? I mean, because I really had minimal familiarity with it. And I explained I didn't know very much. And they said, that's okay, you're a securities lawyer, come on, you can answer some questions at least. And so I did a little bit of research and found out that there was virtually no legally helpful research from things that were written by lawyers for lawyers. So I really went to this meeting hoping to learn, being a skeptic, not really knowing much about it, and found that the people who were interested in the space were bright and exciting and excited and could articulate a vision for how this could really change particular aspects of finance and transactions. And I didn't necessarily become a believer in run out and buy a bunch of Bitcoin, although I wish I had. And instead, what I did is I started researching and find out just how much there was to know and how helpful it would be for lawyers and business people to have access to more detailed, specific, and legally accurate information. And I was fortunate enough to have a sabbatical coming up. I used that sabbatical to read maybe 1,000 articles and chapters, just making myself familiar with the space and at the same time writing about it. So starting with something as basic as a cryptionary. Here are all these terms that if you want to learn about this, you need to understand the jargon. And then moving from there, how does this fit with the securities regulation and commodities regulation? And then that led to the book and has led to a number of other articles and public commentary and blog posts and presentations at symposia. And it's just an area that I find continually fascinating.
Yes, right. So you're also giving a great message to women too about being a lifelong learner. And, you completely pivoted your research area and now you are considered a world's expert. I happen to personally know that you helped educate the district court and supreme judges of the state of Wyoming because they're very concerned about the types of cases they're going to see in your courtrooms. And I understand you have another big project. I don't know where you quite are in that, about educating the agricultural business in this space. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. One of the wonderful things about being associated with the University of Arkansas is its connection with agriculture. So we have a College of Agriculture. The law school has an LLM in agriculture, and we are, as an institution, home to the National Agricultural Law Center. And it commissioned a 3-paper series from me introducing agribusinesses to what blockchain and crypto assets are, how they are regulated, and the different kinds of businesses and applications that might be useful to them. And then in connection with that, I will also be doing a webinar in August put on by the National Ag Law Center. They have the papers. I don't believe they're up on their website yet, but they will be. And it's tremendously exciting to think about introducing other folks to this new and rapidly developing area of the law, because there are so many things that are potentially advantageous associated with blockchain. And if you don't know about it, you can't take advantage of it.
Can you give us some examples where you saw opportunities for agriculture businesses to benefit from blockchain technologies?
Sure. One of the interesting ones is in the realm of carbon offsets. And if you are a farmer and you want to encourage sustainable practices, you want to do carbon sequestration, you want to change the way you manage your ranch, you manage your farm, you want to change the way that you are fertilizing your fields, and you are going to reduce your carbon footprint. The world is so in favor of decreasing carbon emissions that there's actually a market for that. And folks who want to encourage folks not to put carbon into the atmosphere or to take carbon back out through sequestration proceedings can pay for it. There are markets where you can buy and sell those rights, measured in tons of carbon that are removed from the atmosphere. But if you don't know how to find a buyer, okay, there's these markets, what do I do? There are blockchain-based companies. The big one in the US is Nori, N-O-R-I, and it actually has a Nori token that you can buy and sell, and you can facilitate carbon sequestration to offset your personal carbon footprint if you're interested in climate change. So that's a tiny little example. I mean, there's examples, food to table. Walmart's very big in the supply side, supply chain tracing. There are financial applications, especially if you're buying or selling or doing international trade. I mean, there's so many applications, but the one that I thought might be really interesting is the carbon offset one.
Yes, yeah. Well, actually, they're both very interesting, right? And they both address huge societal problems, right? Even the farm to fork, we want to know where our food comes from. And those applications also help with reducing food waste in the instance of recalls. And it's really addressing huge societal issues.
To improve food safety,
Mm-hmm.
because you can target where you are recalling and do the recalls much more accurately. You can prevent food contamination. In parts of the world in particular, counterfeit food is a huge issue. That's supposed to be honey that's unadulterated, but no, that was not supposed to be for human consumption. And being able to trace that and track that and prevent that from happening really does have a potentially significant impact on the quality of human life.
I'm sure you get asked this question often. So coming from the Walton College of Business, I often hear complaints about the regulators. Oh, they're stifling innovations, but you might have a different perspective. So how do you answer that question? Where are the regulators in this space?
I wish I could say no, they're doing great. One of the really tough things for the regulators is that regulators are busy. They've got a lot going on, and they are generally forced into being reactive. So they wait until the technology happens, and then have to learn about it and then have to regulate it. And often there's that gap between the development, the new technology, its adoption, and there's no regulation. And that is where you often see bad actors. You see people who are fraudsters and scam artists, or people who want to manipulate, misuse, abuse the space. gaining a foothold. And one of the things that happened in the crypto transaction side is regulators saw very early on those bad actors. They saw Silk Road, the dark road, the underground web economy, Amazon for drugs, use Bitcoin. And so they associate in their minds this development with criminals. Crypto is for criminals. And getting that mindset out of the minds of regulators is surprisingly difficult. So the regulators, in good faith, are trying to allow for legitimate development, but at the forefront is their mission to protect consumers, protect the public, prevent money laundering, prevent pouring of funds into criminal activities. I mean, really bad criminal activities, human trafficking, international terrorism. And consequently, you do have a system where we are really struggling with the problem of overreaction and overregulation. And one of our problems is not only do we have 50 states that get to regulate, at the federal level, we've got multiple agencies. So we have the Financial Crimes Criminal Enforcement Network under the Department of the Treasury, FinCEN, saying it's a digital currency and we're going to regulate it as a currency to prevent money laundering. And we have the Commodities Exchange Commission saying, oh, it's a commodities and we're going to regulate it. And we've got the Securities Exchange Commission saying, nope, it's a security, we're going to regulate it. And so you have all of these different regulators, all, I think, acting in good faith, but all creating a system that is extraordinarily difficult for businesses to navigate. One of the reasons why, as an academic, I find this area so interesting and challenging, because there is so much going on.
One of the things I really appreciated about your book was you explained to people like me how long the regulatory process is. So about how they have to put these things out for public review. So they're always going to lag the technology, as you say. And I always tell my students when they ask about regulators, I said, I don't want to live in a world where I'm not protected as an investor, as a consumer. I want my environment protected. And bringing these regulators into conversations early, I think, is a key. There too, you've been a leader. I remember, was it 2 years ago, you had a conference and brought in leaders. You had people from the SEC, I forget the other regulatory bodies you had.
Commodities Exchange
The
Commission.
Commodities Exchange Commission. And to me, that partnership between business and law and regulators is so valued. And I certainly value you, Carol, as a colleague.
And I value you. I love being part of the Blockchain Center for Excellence, even if it's just part of the faculty network.
Okay. Well, Carol, good luck again with your research project that you're working on for agribusiness, and we will see you around the College of Business very soon.
You certainly will. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.